You've seen it before. Girl likes boy, boy likes girl, boy starts acting like boyfriend, girl falls deeper for boy. Boy doesn't realize his deep-seated issues, insecurities, and fear of commitment will ultimately end up breaking girl's heart. Girl's heart gets broken. It's a sad, if common, scene, which begs the following question. What should you do if you suspect your guy is not emotionally available for a future? Stick around and I'll explain. I'm Marc, Katz, dating coach for smart, strong, successful women and your personal trainer for love. Welcome to the Love You podcast. Keep listening to learn what to do when he's not ready for a relationship. When we're done, I'll let you know how you could apply to Love You to create a passionate relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood. One of the hardest parts of relationships is that people aren't always sure what they want. We are more emotional creatures than we are logical creatures. I remember when I was 24, I moved to Los Angeles and I didn't know anybody, and I found a girlfriend to combat the loneliness. I remember when I was 26 and my father died suddenly. I found a girlfriend to distract me from my pain and loss. I remember when I was 27 and my career was sputtering. I found a girlfriend who was equally miserable living at home, and we found solace in sex and companionship. I remember when I was 32, I was reeling from getting dumped by a woman that I really loved, and I dated prolifically for a few years until I found another girlfriend. And none of these, in bringing these things up, were conscious choices. There was no moment where I was thinking, I'm going to waste anybody's time, I'm going to be emotionally unavailable, I'm going to use someone until something better comes along, I'm filling a void in my life with companionship. These were never conscious thoughts. I never actually used anybody, not consciously. I was attracted to them, I was lonely, they were available, misery loves company. And when I ended up breaking up with each of those women, I'm sure they told some story, maybe even still tell the story, about how I was a player, or I was a narcissist, or I was a user, or I was a commitment phobe, or I was emotionally unavailable. Maybe the last one was true, but barely. Right? Who knows? Right? It's possible. There's two sides to every story. Maybe they were right. My point in sharing this information and being personal, right, is never to make myself look good. It is simply to point out this was not something I was trying to do to pull the wool over anybody's eyes or deceive them. My heart was longing for some sort of connection, and I would take anybody who paid attention to me despite my low-level depression from most of my life between 24 and 34. And I also like to say, and again, I know it's not a good look, I think I'm a nice guy. I think I'm one of the and the good ones. I think I'm an ethical person. Right? I come from an ethical family. Honesty is a core value. My parents stayed together. They were intact. We were given a lot of love and self-esteem and a baseline of empathy, a strong moral code. Right? And if I was given all these advantages and I still hurt a bunch of women, albeit unintentionally, this is something that we should look closer at. So when you're getting a sense that a guy isn't ready for a relationship, right, a guy's going to give you a bunch of signs. Not always. Right? He's not always going to do what's right for you. He's not going to, remember, it's not his job to take care of your emotional needs. It's your job to take care of your emotional needs. So sometimes guys do dive in and love bomb, but just as often you'll see these signs. Right? Feel free to write them down. He'll run hot and cold. And John Gray from Mars and Venus fame calls it rubber banding. A guy gets close to you, guy pulls away. A guy gets close to you, guy pulls away, which could make any person pretty darn anxious. Next, he'll avoid escalating things. Right? This is a guy who's like, everything's fine the way it is. Why do we have to talk about a future? Why do we have to talk about like marriage and kids? And why do we have to like give this a label? This is the mark of a guy who's trying to avoid escalating things. Right? He just wants to stay present. He doesn't want to talk about a future. He will probably not volunteer that he loves you, right? Because that would be too much of a commitment. So he just hopes you enjoy each other's company and you don't ask any questions. Right? Similarly, he won't talk about a future. Right? He will assiduously avoid the topic of marriage, kids, etc. because to bring it up means that he's risking you being like, maybe this guy's not a good bet. As long as we don't talk about it, it's not there. As long as you're afraid to bring it up because you don't want to scare him away, he gets to keep this sort of low-level relationship that he has that works for him but may not work for you. Next, he'll make plans. No, he won't make plans. Misspoke. He won't make plans far out because he's not really sure how long he plans on staying. So the idea of, saying RSVPing to a friend's wedding in 6 months or making travel plans for an international vacation in 4 months is largely inconceivable to this guy because he wants an escape route. He's not fully in it. He's enjoying it. That's what you're feeling. He's enjoying something. It's not like he's completely disingenuous about liking you or your company. It's that he's not fully available for what happens next, which is why he does not lead those plans. And then he will also give you hints in terms of accidentally telling on himself. He'll tell you that he's confused. He'll say, I don't know what I'm looking for. He'll say, I think you're too good for me. He'll tell you things like that, which you will probably ignore, right? And keep on seeing him, even though these are the warning signs. These are the bright yellow flags, if not red flags. So people in Love You know the phrase, believe the negatives, ignore the positives. And that means when you're getting all these signs that a guy is confused or ambivalent about you, you need to have the courage to move on, not to wait for all these signs to add up and become true. He's already told you what's true. You just didn't want to hear it. You just didn't want to believe it. And again, you leave this guy, the ambivalent guy, not because he's a bad guy. Bad's a useless word for our purposes. It's not even because he has no potential, because all the people that I dated that I ended up not being with, you wouldn't write me off as a guy who never wanted to get married. That's not that I didn't have any potential. It's that potential wasn't going to be realized, right? Because there are real feelings involved. When I'm telling you about the guy that you're seeing right now and you're hearing these signs, I'm telling you things that your guy's doing right now and you're like, oh gosh, that's really hard to hear. It's not that there aren't real feelings involved. It's that despite all of this, despite the fact that he's a good guy, despite the fact that there's real feelings involved, he's telling you in his way that this ultimately isn't going anywhere. And he won't say it explicitly because he doesn't want you to leave him. But these are all hints that he's not ready for the commitment with you that you are ready for, that you are pining for. So the title of this podcast, the title of this video is What to Do When He's Not Ready for a Relationship. And the answer couldn't be simpler. Dump him. Tell him you care about him, that you wish he were in a different place, but you're looking for a future husband, not just a guy to kill time with to combat the loneliness. Wish him the best. Tell him to heal, wish him luck in his future search, and then walk out the door, block him on social media, block him on your phone, and do not look back. Guys like this can be very, very convincing, but the truth is, you can tell when a guy is really into you and when he's not. If he's not, it's not your job to convince him that he should be. It's your job to leave. To be the CEO who fires the intern who doesn't really want to build a future with your company. It's not easy advice to follow, but you'll be very, very glad that you did. My name is Marc Katz. Thanks for tuning into the Love You podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click on the subscribe button, ring the bell, and choose all to ensure you get notified when new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple. More reviews equals more awareness of the Love You podcast and more love in the world. I think we have over 300 reviews, so it's really, really nice. But we haven't gotten any in a while, so we'd like to hear some more from you. So thank you for taking the time to do that. And finally, and most importantly, if you want to have an easy relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood, look for the link below or go to www.evanmarckatz.com to watch my free video on how to gain confidence, attract quality men, and fix your broken man picker. When you're done, you could apply to Love You Live to join hundreds of other smart, strong, successful women from around the world in a coaching community where women like you actually get the unconditional love that you deserve. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.